Hey guys, Karen, I know it's been a while since I did another Tony soundtrack review. I meant to do this one for a while, I just never really got the chance to. I actually finished the soundtrack like last week, but like I said, I just didn't get the chance to review it till now. But finally, I have some time, I figured I'd review it now, and I was really trying to figure out which one to do because there aren't as many soundtracks to review this year. There are only six, and there aren't any really. There's only one more being released. Then I only have like four others to review. Most of which I've already heard already. I'm just saving for last because they're amazing, and I want to save them for last. But there's only one that hasn't been released yet, and I'm really trying to figure out how to do this. But I figured it would make sense to review this one second, because it was probably one of the ones that, honestly, probably of all the soundtracks, the one I was most looking forward. I was least looking forward to listening, and I'll tell you guys why. But that is for the 2016 revival of Fiddler on the Roof. Now I know Fiddler on the Roof. How could you not be excited for this? Okay. Yes, I was excited for this, definitely. I was excited for this for a few reasons. One, because I saw them perform on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They were incredible. I thought they did a really great job on there. They just had so much energy. But Fiddler on the Roof has never been my favorite show, and I'll tell you guys why. It's not because the show is bad or anything. Although I don't particularly love the story, I will definitely say that's not my favorite story. I really don't like this show because of how much it was played for me in my middle school. Literally, in my middle school, when we had nothing to do and we weren't, like, rehearsing a song or something in my chorus class, we watched that, or we watched the 2004 version of Phantom of the Opera. And let me just say, that movie is miles better than the 2004 version of Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera is pretty horrible. It's probably one of the worst movies probably my least favorite movies ever made. I absolutely fucking hate that movie. I mean, I could just go on a whole rant about it, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm here to talk about Fiddler on the Roof. But like I said, because of that, the many times that was played, because it was played for me so much, and it's not the best movie. It's really not. It's not the most captivating story. It's 3 hours long. I don't really remember it because then it's not that memorable to me. It's not a bad story. I just don't really feel it's that memorable. But I really didn't know how this soundtrack was going to be. But to my surprise, this soundtrack, I think, is miles better than that movie. In fact, I think this is the best soundtrack of Fiddler on the Roof we've ever had, which really shouldn't come as a surprise to me because the person that did the soundtrack and the show in general is the same person that did that incredibly flawless production of The King and I last year, so I really should not be surprised this is as good as it is, but it really is fantastic. I think every song here really is great, and they really tried to make it on their own, and they really, you can really see the show still sticks today. It's not at all dated. The message still works, things like that. But let's just get into this soundtrack, starting off with one of the most memorable songs in the show. All I have to say is one word, and that, of course, is tradition. Now, I said before that I'm not a huge fan of this, show Fiddler on the Roof overall. Not the case with this song. I've always loved this song. Ever since I've heard it, I think it's been fantastic. I think it's a great way to tell the world, and I think it's really great here. I think it's a great introduction. But particularly, I've said this song in general, it's very well done. A lot of people really love it. It's very energetic. It really shows sort of the liveliness of the show we're going into, sort of the quirkiness, things like that. Also shows us what this village is like and how it's very religion that they're in is very different than other religions and things like that. But particularly the thing I really do want to talk about here is Danny Bernstein, who is damn near perfection, I think, as Tevye. And the thing I love the most about his character here is that he didn't try to do what Topol did. If you remember Topol, he, of course, is probably the most iconic portrayal of Tevye that there is. I mean, he was Tevye on Broadway. He was Tevye in the movie. Pretty much when you think of, Tevye, you think of Topol. And I love that he didn't try to be Topol. In fact, he doesn't really even have much of an accent here. He does what he needs to do for this role. I think he did a great job with it, and that's one of the reasons why I think Tradition is so great. I think the cast here as well, you can see they really do kill it here. And the other thing I love is that I can actually tell what they're saying, when in the movie, it was kind of hard to tell what they were saying because their accents were so thick, and here you actually can tell what they're saying, and I really do love the way it just kind of goes through everything, shows how the way things are, this is the way that they get things done, the way they're devoted to God, really just introduces the entire plot in 7 minutes, and it never feels like 7 minutes, it goes by so quickly. I'm so into it. I think they did a great job with it, and definitely is a great way to start how great this soundtrack really is. But then we get to another very famous song from the show, which this song really has a lot of famous songs, but this one as well. I mean, if you didn't know tradition, you should know the next one called Matchmaker.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, I'll bring the veil, you bring the groom, slender and pale. Bring me a ring, for I'm longing to be the envy of all I see. For Papa, make him a scholar. For Mama, make him rich as a king. For me, well, I wouldn't holler if he were as handsome as anything. Matchmaker.
Once again, this is another song that when I first watched the movie, I really love, but I love even more here. I think this song in general, it's really well done. I think these three women all do a very good job with it. Melanie Moore, Alexandra Silber, and Samantha Mazel, they all do a great job with this song. They all really do kill it, and I really do love the concept of Matchmaker, the fact that they don't really get to choose. They kind of just have ideas of what they want and what they don't want, and there's some really great subtle stuff in here. I mean, some of it kind of is sad that their husband may beat them or things like that, but they kind of just have to deal with it, and it really does show the eternal struggle that they don't really get to make a choice, and this is kind of how they've been raised. They've always been told that they're going to get their matchmaker chose for, they're going to get their man chose for them, and they don't really want that necessarily, but that's kind of just how they've grown up, and I really like the way that was done here. I think it's a very well done song, and again, it's a really iconic song, so again, it's a really hard song to do really well, but I think they did the song very well. Definitely really enjoyed it. Definitely one of the highlights in the soundtrack. Not the highlight, we'll get to the highlight in a little bit. It's not the next song, though, surprisingly, even though without a doubt we get to the most iconic song on the show, the song that if I say Fiddler on the Roof you should know the most, which of course is If I Were a Rich Man.
If I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a biddy rich, yiddle diddle deedle diddle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof and real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up, and one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just for show.
I think there are very few songs that are as iconic as something like If I Were a Rich Man. I mean, everyone knows it. Even if you haven't seen Fiddler on the Roof, even if you don't really know musicals, you know If I Were a Rich Man. I'm sure everyone has heard it at least once in their life, and it's not a hard song to do either. I mean, you just really need to get the motivation right, you need to get the character right, and that's something that Danny Bernstein not only sells very well, but he really brings his own to this character. I mean, you can just tell he is having so much fun playing this role, and I mean, a lot of people, I remember when I first saw the movie, a lot of people weren't taking it seriously because of the way he's dancing and everything, but that's something I love, is that I feel Tevye does that because it's kind of like a dance like nobody's watching sort of moment for him. Like, he's dreaming about something that he knows isn't really going to happen, but he's hoping is going to happen, and because he's devoted his entire life to God and everything, it hasn't exactly happened. It's kind of sad, but I really think he sells it here. You really do care about his character, you understand why he wants this motivation, and that's something I definitely really love. I think the motivation is very clear here. He really sells it, and Danny Bernstein, I mean, he definitely deserves that Tony nomination he got. He got it for a reason, and this song is a very good reason why. He sells that, just side of Tevye very well. Even though Tevye knows what he's done, he can't help but think of a better life, and that this might not be the best life for him, but again, this is the life that he was told he needs to do. Again, this is what God told him to do, and because that he's going to continue doing this, even though he doesn't, kind of doesn't really want to. This is kind of just, he feels like God's going to help him out in the end, which we know throughout the show he finally said, he always says, "Oh God, why you've done this?" Even in the beginning, he's saying, "Oh God, I understand why we're doing this, but why do you have to do this to us and everything?" I really love that. I think it's a really great performance overall. Danny Bernstein really kills it, and definitely one of the highlights here. Again, not the highlight. We'll get into that. But then we get to the next song, which definitely is not iconic as the first three. I think it's really cool. The first three are the most iconic, but it's probably one of the songs that isn't as interesting to me, but that is Sabbath Prayer.
Ruth, and like Esther, may you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord, and keep them from the stranger's ways. May God bless you and grant you long life.
May the Lord fulfill our Sabbath prayer.
Again, like I said, when I saw the movie, I really didn't appreciate a lot of the songs. Some of them I really did like tradition, but something like this I found to be more one of the snoozers, and here that is not the case at all. This is a beautiful rendition, and I love everything about Sabbath Prayer here. I think it's fantastic. I think Danny Bernstein and then whoever plays his wife, Jessica Hecht, they both really sell it here. They're both fantastic, and what I love the most about this song is that you have this, sense that this is what they do every night. They sing this probably at dinner time, and they count their blessings and things like that. And it's just a really beautiful song. There were some beautiful melodies there, especially when it goes down, "Oh, hear our Sabbath prayer." I love that. I think it's fantastic. I really, again, you can really think that this is the song that their people sing every night before they are at dinner. It's a small song, but it also is very powerful. I really enjoy that overall. And to me, definitely turned into what was one of my least favorite and not really songs I have much to say about to one of my absolute favorite songs in the soundtrack. Without a doubt, Sabbath Prayer is one of my favorites. And then we get to basically the song that I first heard from this soundtrack, technically because of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and that is To Life.
Here's to my bride to be. Drink l'chaim to life, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim to life. Life has a way of confusing us, blessing and bruising us. Drink l'chaim to life. God would like us to be joyful, even when our hearts lie panting on the floor. How much more can we be joyful when there's really something to be joyful for?
There are a few songs that I think are as fun as To Life is, because it's not really a fun show. I mean, there are fun moments in the show, but To Life, I think, really is that big, really fun group number that everyone would really want to do. I think this is a song that, in general, like, if you were to look at really fun dance songs, this is one that definitely comes to mind. I really do love it. I mean, yes, it's Jewish-style dancing, but it's really impressive. You can just tell that this entire cast are having a lot of fun with this song, and that's really what you want. You want them to have fun. You want them to feel like you're having fun as well, and it really sells you that they are having fun. I think they do a very good job of that. Not just Danny Bernstein, but all of the other guys that sing in this, I think, are awesome. Again, this is right after Tevye has agreed to let Laser marry Zeitel. Those two are definitely getting married. We know that wedding is definitely going to happen very soon. We don't know when, but very soon that wedding is going to take place, and it's just a really fun, lively number. There aren't many in the show, but I really love it. It's a lot of fun, and definitely another definite highlight on this. It really was the thing that told me this was going to be a great cast recording, just from that, seeing that Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I'm like, this is really awesome. I can't wait to see it on the album. It was fantastic. I love it, and it's one of the many great ones, because there really are a lot of great ones. But then we get to something that's a little bit different. We go from To Life to then what is Tevye's monologue.
Gave each other a pledge. Unheard of. Absurd. You gave each other a pledge. Unthinkable. Where do you think you are? In Moscow? In Paris? Where do they think they are? America? And what do you think you're doing, you stitcher, you nothing? Who do you think you are, King Solomon? This isn't the way it's done, not here, not now. Some things I will not, I cannot allow. Tradition!
this again takes a song that I really didn't think much of in the movie and makes it incredible. I mean, I really love everything about this monologue because there's so many questions going on in Tevye's head. There's the fact that, you know, he can tell that definitely, you know, no matter what, that definitely, you know, Hoddle and Motel, you know, these two really do love each other and that they want to be together and that they, you know, they want to get married and everything. But at the same time, it goes against everything he's pretty much been taught in his religion. The fact that Motel did not, you know, he did not choose Motel. Basically, they gave each other a pledge and things like that, and he doesn't really know how to deal with that whole situation. And then the fact that they think that they love each other, and that's something that he's not, you know, able to handle. He doesn't really understand that feeling of love and everything. I think that's just a feeling he really can't comprehend, and it really does show how much of a the childlike wonder in Tevye. The way, I mean, imagine if you had all these different morals that you were taught, and then your own daughter basically goes against these morals, but it doesn't necessarily seem wrong. It's actually intriguing, and he isn't completely against the idea, which I really do love. I think it's a very good song. Danny Bernstein really portrays this in not this, you know, stern, like, oh, I'm right, you're wrong kind of way. He's really trying to think over, is this really the right thing to do? Should he really allow these two to get married? Can he really let this happen? And is it really possible? I really love the way that was done. Really good stuff here. And again, it takes another song that I really didn't think much of, but this is another song that really does build and build, and you can really tell it's coming out as inner emotions, and that gets him to eventually make decisions that he does make into the next song, Miracle of Miracles.
Took a Daniel once again, stood by his side, and miracle of miracles walked him through the lion's den. Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, I was afraid that God would frown, but like he did so long ago in Jericho, God just made a wall fall down. When Moses softened Pharaoh's heart, that was a miracle. When God made the waters of the Red Sea part, that was a miracle too. But of all God's miracles, large and small, the most miraculous one.
Another definite highlight on the soundtrack, Miracle of Miracles. I mean, there's so much great stuff about this song, not just because of Adam Cantor's killer voice. I mean, this guy really kills it. I believe he was in On the Town last year. He really is fantastic. He did a great job in this show as Motel, but also because of what this song really represents. I mean, think about it. Tevye has agreed these two to marry, even though he goes against kind of what he's been taught. He still understands that these two really do care about each other, and that if he doesn't let his daughter marry this man, it's going to ruin a lot of things, and he really doesn't want to have to do that, so he agrees to let them get married. He can see that they're begging and pleading, and just, you know, Motel didn't think that this could actually happen, that he'd actually say yes, and it just really sets off the rest of the show, which is really about change. It's about how, yes, traditions, you know, go on, but eventually they die out, and that really is what this show is all about. It's about how traditions eventually die out, and clearly, you know, Tevye is already willing to have some loopholes into these traditions, whether that's right or wrong. That's what he's doing. We get into that a little bit later, but I think he really kills it here, you know, especially the Miracles. You can really tell how much he cares about, you know, Hoddle and how much he loves her and things like that. I think it's a really great song. Really enjoyed it. And then we get to this really long 7-minute sequence called Tevye's Dream.
That we were having a celebration of some kind. Everybody we knew was there, and musicians too. In the middle of the dream, in walks your grandmother Zeitel, may she rest in peace.
Grandmother Zeitel? How did she look?
For a woman who is dead 30 years, she looked very good. Naturally, I went up to greet her. She said to me,
A blessing on your head
Mazel tov, mazel tov,
to see your daughter wed,
mazel tov, mazel tov.
and such a son-in-law like no one ever saw. The tale of Muttle comes oil.
Muttle?
A worthy boy is he,
Mazel tov, mazel tov,
of pious family.
mazel tov, mazel tov.
They named him after my dear Uncle Mordecai. The tale of Muttle comes oil.
A tailor? She must have heard wrong. She meant the butcher.
You must have heard wrong, Grandma. There's no tailor. You mean a butcher, Grandma. by the name of Laser Wolf.
No! I mean a tailor.
Now, this isn't exactly a track because it really is just this elaborate piece known as Tevye's Dream, and there's a lot going on here. The fact that Tevye pretty much has this premonition and is very worried that if he allows Zeidel and Laser to get married, something very bad is going to happen at that wedding, and that this is going to basically completely have so much damage to their family, and he really does not want that to happen. And basically, he thinks that he needs to get Zeidel to marry Motel, and that's the way this needs to go. And already we have a very interesting conflict here because we know that obviously Hodel wants to marry Motel. Motel does want to marry Hodel and everything, and Goldie is obviously terrified that Tevye is having this dream, of course, because it's her grandmother of all things. It's a very interesting sequence the way this was done. It comes across as creepy, but also kind of comedic, but also you can tell this really is Tevye's fear. He's very worried that something bad is going to happen and that, Zeitel and Laser, these two should not get married. And I think it's a very interesting situation the way that turns out. I really love the way this was done. Again, Danny Bernstein does a great job recounting the events of the story. There's something really fun to it as well, because obviously there's a lot of superstitious elements, and the whole time Goldie's thinking he's crazy, which is a good thing and a bad thing. We'll get into why it's a good thing and a bad thing a little bit later, but I really did enjoy this overall. This was really good. It's not one of my favorite tracks or anything, but I do really enjoy it. Then we get into this score thing called Wedding Procession. Not really going to talk about it for too long, but basically Wedding Procession, it's, we go to the wedding of Zeitel and Motel because basically he realizes that Zeitel needs to marry Motel and that this is the person that she needs to get married to, and these two get married, and then we get what is without a doubt my favorite song on this soundtrack, and that is Sunrise Sunset.
Swiftly flow the days, seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers, blossoming even as we gaze.
Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years, one season following another.
When I first heard this, I was in awe. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This track is incredible. I mean, it really is. There's so many great songs in this show, but Sunrise Sunset, without a doubt, is the most emotionally effective. And again, the movie, I didn't really understand that because I didn't really love the movie in the way I should have, and of course, I didn't see it in the right state of mind as well. But this is just incredible. I mean, this is still a very relatable song because the song, I mean, is essentially about how, while I think Tevye and Goldie, they're happy to give Zeitel away and see her get married, they also don't really understand where the time is gone and all this time they've lost with her, and they're kind of reflecting on things. It's a very effective scene. I really enjoyed this way it was done. You see all the, they're all kind of thinking about their inner thoughts and how this is all going, and is this turning out the way they wanted to. There's a lot going on in this. I really do love it overall. The harmonies are just stunning here. It is beautiful. I mean, it sounds like something you'd hear in a wedding, and it really, I've never heard this song done better. I don't think it can get done better than this. Between the amazing baritone range of Danny Bernstein, along with the really good blending that Goldie has as well. I can't think of her name right now, but she really does kill it here. Jessica Hecht, she really, again, kills it here. She does an incredible job in this role, and I think she's just as great as Tevye. The Danny Bernstein, though, I mean, he really does command this role, and he really is the one thing that makes it the best thing that it is. But I think Ben Rappaport's great here as well. He did a really great job. All the characters here, they really sound incredible. You really get that feel of what's going on, and I really love it overall. Now, this is the end of Act 1, because technically the end of Act 1 is this wedding dance, but it's a dance. There's not really much to say about it. It's a nice score, but that's basically how Act 1 ends, and then we go right into Act 2, which is much shorter than Act 1, which is interesting, because a lot of Act 1s, Act 2 has a bit more songs, but this Act 2 I think only has like 5 songs, surprisingly, which we'll get into. But we start off right away with the next song, which is Now I Have Everything.
That was only half true. I had an aim in life, and that was everything. But now I even have you. I have something that I would die for, someone that I can live for too. Yes, now I have everything, not only everything, I have a little bit more. Besides having everything, I know what everything's for. I used to wonder, could there be a wife to
Now, yes, this track is very similar to Miracle of Miracles, but it's also because it's a very similar story. You know, since Hadel couldn't marry Motel, she wants to be with Perchik, and once again, Tevye can't really say no, because this time they kind of guilt him into it. I mean, the fact that Hadel even says that she loves him and she wants to be with him, you kind of get the sense that this is who Hadel wanted to be with all along, and Tevye can't really say no to it, and he's kind of just accepting that things are changing, and I really love that. I think whoever plays Perchik, what's his name? Let me find that right now. Who plays Perchik? Ben Rappaport. He really kills it here. He does a really great job in this song, as does Samantha Mazel. They both do a really great job. You really do see the love they have, and again, it's something that Tevye can't fully comprehend, but he is allowing, just because he can't really say no. You know, he can see that they really want to be with each other. They can't really do anything, and that perfectly transitions into the next song, which is probably the most confusing song for Tevye's character, Do You Love Me?
Do you love me?
Do I love you? With our daughters getting married and there's trouble in the town, you're upset, you're worn out, go inside, go lie down. Maybe it's indigestion.
Gold, I'm asking you a question. Do you love me?
You're a fool.
I know. But do you love me?
Do I love you?
Do You Love Me, again, is probably one of the few moments in the movie that I think was one of the most interesting and one of the most emotional, because I mean, Goldie and Tevye are a very complicated relationship. You can tell these two really do care about each other, but do they really love each other? We don't really know. I mean, they didn't, get married based on love. It was based on arrangement, and the fact that, Goldie clearly was, that Tevye was the one chosen for Goldie, and they've been married since then. That's just the way that things have gone, and now we have Hadel and Perchik, and it seems like those two are marrying each other out of love, and it's just something that you can tell these two don't really understand. They're trying to figure out, do they really love each other? Do they really want to be with each other? I really love the way this song is done. I think they both really do a great job. It's funny as well, just seeing Jessica Hecht kind of in denial, Goldie kind of like, what are you talking about? Why do you think you love me and everything? A very interesting situation. I really love the way they play off each other, and I think they really both have tremendous chemistry. Just through this song, you really do see it. And I do think that generally Tevye and Goldie do love each other. They're just very confused because they'll never fully understand that, that term or, that feeling, because they never really have known what it is, and they've never really been, in love, because that's not why they agreed to get married and everything. So they'll never really go through any of that, which is kind of sad, but you do see that, they do kind of, I think, really do love each other in the end. But then we get to two things that I'm going to talk about. First is The Rumor, and then Far From the Home I Love.
And far from the home I love, once I was happily content to be as I was, where I was, close to the people who are close to me, here in the home I love. Who could see that a man would come who...
So these are two songs that basically go hand in hand. The reason I didn't play The Rumor is because it's just like a bunch of assorted conversations, and also because I couldn't really find a good photo of it. If you guys are noticing, a lot of the pictures I'm using, they're not all from this production. Why? Because the show didn't put enough of this production, really. I mean, they have a good amount, but not everything is from this production, probably because they don't want to spoil things. I totally understand that, but there's just not enough of this particular production, so I used a bunch of different productions rather than just one. as you guys can tell. But let's talk about the rumor first, because I think it's a very good song. It really does set up things. And then we get to what I think is probably the most emotional song on the show, which is Far From the Home I Love. I mean, you have Hodel, things seem to go really well for her. She just got married to Perchik, and then at the last second, he has been exiled, and he's been arrested, and he's going to Siberia, and Hodel basically says, look, I don't care what you're saying, my husband's in Siberia, I'm going right with him, and Tevye can't really say no, because again, he can tell these two genuinely care about each other. He can't really say no, he can't really do anything, and that's why it's kind of sad that he can't really do anything about this. You can tell he wants to, but he doesn't really know what to do in this situation. I love the way this song is done. I think, again, the person that plays Hodel, I've said it before, but she really kills it in this scene. Really, I think she does a great job. Samantha Mazel has a killer voice, especially her high range at the end. I did not see that coming at all. She is incredible. I love her voice overall. Her vocals are really incredible. It's a really sad, but a very satisfying farewell to Hodel on the show. Hodel did get what she wanted. She got to be with Perchik, but now that she's married him out of love, now we have to see what costs to that, because no one is telling her she has to go, but she feels she has to go. It's her duty to do this, and that's basically where we leave Hodel. But then we get to the last two songs of the show, the first being definitely the most emotional and probably biggest twist of the show besides the ending, and that, of course, is Tevye's denial with Hava's situation.
Little bird, little Fiddler, I don't understand what's happening today. Everything is all a blur. All I can see is a happy child, the sweet little bird you were, Fiddler. Little bird, little Fiddler, you were always such a pretty little thing, everybody's favorite child. Gentle and kind and affectionate, what a sweet little bird you were, Fiddler.
Probably one of the most emotional songs in the show, Little Havala. I mean, everything about this is just really sad, but again, you totally can get behind what Tevye is saying, because this is finally the song where Tevye finally puts his foot down and he says, no, I'm not going to do this, because in the previous situation, Hodel and Motel and Hodel and Perchik, they were Jewish, but Hava, she wants to get married to someone who is not at all of Jewish descent, and to, Tevye, as much as things are changing, that is something that he will never be able to, condone, and that even though she wants this, she completely goes against him, and this completely changes perception of Hava, and basically the rest of the song is him recounting the events of her as a little girl, and remembering how close she was, and how he'll really never be able to look her in the eye again, which is sad, but if you guys know, he does actually end up not being able to see her as his daughter, literally shuns her at the end of the show. It's very sad to see, but you understand it, Danny Bernstein and Tevye in general, he's so dedicated to his religion that if you betray his religion or you do something that goes against his religion, he is going to betray you, and there's going to be some very big consequences for it that obviously I don't think that Hava was prepared for, but also I think Tevye knew that he had to put his foot down at some point. This was when he had to do that, and it's very sad to see, but Danny Bernstein does a great job here. You really do understand why he's doing this decision. But then we get to the finale, which I think, while very tragic, is also very hopeful, which I'll get into, and that is the brilliant finale of the show called Anatevka.
What to believe? Nothing much, only Anatevka. Anatevka, underfed, overworked, Anatevka, where else could Sabbath be so sweet? Anatevka, intimate, obstinate, Anatevka, where I know everyone I meet.
I remember when I first saw the movie, I was shocked, honestly, when this happened. I'm like, why did they just randomly get kicked out? Why does the movie have to end this way? But now I really think it makes sense. Listening to this soundtrack and re-exploring the show, I think it makes perfect sense as to why they have to leave, because this is basically them not just leaving their heritage, but leaving everything that's known to me. Think about it. They haven't devoted their entire life to God, and God has told them to stay in Anatevka, but finally they have to go against God because they can't stay in Anatevka. They have people that are taking over Anatevka. They're going to have to go somewhere else, and you get this sense that they're kind of free. And I love that Goldie finally says, we don't have much here. There's not really much in Anatevka. People that came there didn't really know they were there, and they're leaving for America, where it seems like they're going to rediscover themselves, especially Tevye, who very much has changed. Even though he's very devoted, he's also very confused, and a lot of the characters here are very confused. They don't really want the world to change. They want things to remain the same, but the fact is things are changing, and they have to face that, and I think it really tells them to embrace that change, and they're going to leave by embracing that change, which I really did love seeing. I think it's a very good ending for the show. It's very sad to see them all leave, obviously, because we don't want to see them leave, but it also is very hopeful in the sense that you're hoping that they're going to go somewhere where they are going to get that faith, and they are going to realize how important all this is, and that a lot of this stuff that they're doing, it doesn't really matter, and that there is more to life than just God, and that I understand they devote their entire life to God, but they're going to have to find more. They're going to have to move on. Sad to see, but I think it's a very good, hopeful ending for the musical, and a very good way to end the show. This track is incredible. I love everything about it. I think everyone sounds amazing, especially those harmonies at the end. Oh my god, they really are incredible. And it is a perfect way to end the soundtrack. And so overall, guys, I was very surprised by this soundtrack. I really enjoyed it overall. I think this is probably the best recording of Fiddler on the Roof you've ever had. I think between Danny Bernstein and Jessica Hecht, and then all of the other characters, like Motel, everyone I think really kills in here. There's really no one giving a half-assed performance, and honestly, does this have a chance at getting Best Revival? I'm not really sure. I mean, The Color Purple really, I think, is the strong contender. I haven't listened to that soundtrack yet. I'm going to. It's probably going to be one of my last ones that I review, because it's one of the ones I'm most looking forward to reviewing. That's why I'm leaving it for last. But I really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I do want it to get some stuff, definitely. Like, I think it definitely, best score, choreography, things like that. It does need to get at least something, because I think this show is really great. I really enjoyed it overall. I think it's a very good revival, and it really does show how great the show really is. I overall really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I really recommend to you guys. I know Fiddler on the Roof, a lot of people think, oh, it's not that great of a show, or it kind of turned you off, but this show, I'd say go into it. You'll definitely really enjoy it, and overall, I definitely really enjoyed Fiddler on the Roof overall. I definitely recommend it, and it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I will definitely definitely listen, especially Sunrise Sunset. Listen to it enough for Sunrise Sunset and for the amazing group numbers, because there are amazing group numbers here, but there's also the amazing Danny Bernstein, things like that. There's so much to love about this show, and definitely one of the best cast recordings I've heard out of the bunch. I mean, I've heard a lot, but this is definitely one of the ones that's very high up there, and I think the people that are making these shows, these revivals, really are the ones that they know what their shit. They know their shit. They know how to remake these musicals. They know how to make them as good as possible, and they really do a very good job with revivals, and I'm hoping we'll get more from them in the years to come. But before I end this video, guys, I actually have to give a shout out. Now, I don't usually do this because I just feel like it's not my place to do this, or I don't really know if I should do this, or if you guys think I'm just buying views because of it. I'm not trying to buy views. I'm not trying to promote someone in any way. I'm basically doing this because someone asked me to do it. Basically, there's this guy in my school that recorded this song on YouTube, basically, and it's called Man Whore. It's a brand new song that he recorded on his new he just got a YouTube channel. His name is Kyler Coots, definitely, and here's a clip of that video.
You move on from hoe to hoe, leaving girls feeling low. All you want is to get blown and nudes on your telephone. You're a man whore trying to score, leaving girls on the floor. You're a man whore, girls adore, but this isn't what they're looking for. You meet a virgin, act like a surgeon, tell them to open up and give them a checkup. Start acting flirty, get down and dirty, make them feel special with your winter flurry.
So definitely check out his channel, guys. I know he just recently started, and I promised him that I would give him a shout out. So Kyler Coots, hit him up on YouTube. He just has this one video, but it's actually really funny. I think you'll really enjoy this song. Just from that clip, I think you can tell how funny the song gets. It gets actually really deep and really inappropriate as well, but it's very funny. I really enjoyed it overall, and I think it's a really good laugh. He also a very talented singer, and I definitely recommend you guys check that out. Again, I don't like to do shout outs usually, but this is something where I made a promise. I said I'd do it. I'm a man that keeps my promises, and especially for someone in my school who's going to be graduating as well. So definitely I figured, you know, I better give him the shout out before he graduates. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw of Fiddler on the Roof. If you have seen it, love to hear your thoughts in it. I overall really love this soundtrack. Also, check out that video. I will leave a link down below. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for the season finale of The Flash, which obviously I am hyped for. The preview's looking really incredible. I'm thinking we're going to have a really epic finale, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.